Alright guys, so here we are again, picking up where we left off from the last video. Gonna move around a little bit and just try to get these hands done here. And what we gotta remember, and I know I mentioned it in my last video, is to make sure that you're using your reference line to the left of your burning iron. Now, that's also to keep in mind, like, you're going to be able to see where you're burning, what you're burning, and keeping it to the left or in front of your iron will allow you to basically modify your burn to allow you to give the appearance of more depth. So like I said, when you want to like here we're doing contact shadows on the hand here, and what we're going to be doing again is you're creating the illusion of depth by basically joining two surfaces on a flat image. So like here, where you're looking at a fold in his shirt that is more or less like a crease inward. So we're burning over the line, not to the left or the right of the line. So there you're burning both surfaces and you're creating the illusion of the depth going into, you know, like the wrinkle of the shirt. Here we're going to be working on a bit of not so much as a wrinkle, but establishing more or less a, I'm not going to say highlight because it is dark, but more or less like the way I like to view these sections that I like to do. It's more or less like a landmark, you know. So I'm just filling in where there's going to be extreme shadow and extreme contact shadow, like where you're looking at that sleeve there above the forearm. Now, that is where the sleeve curves down and makes contact with the forearm. So it's like everything you're doing here basically is you're touching up these outlines, and it's not so much that you're just redarkening the lines, you're creating depth. And that's the basic gist of what we're doing, is we're creating depth here. The rest of the shading and shadow work will come, and then everything will start making a little more sense once you start seeing a little more, you know, once you start seeing stuff happen a little bit more as the videos progress. Basically here, like I said, you're feathering, and you're going to be just, you know, not making a lot of contact because basically, like I said, we're creating depth and shadow. So my temperature is set. I know I've probably mentioned it in a previous video, and I know I'm gonna probably mention it later on in this video. When you're doing these contact shadows, especially, you're going to be working in a higher temperature because, like I said, you are going to be establishing really dark areas as well. So you're making, like I am there now, that is partly due to my tremors. I don't like the iron being in contact with the surface for an extended period of time. So I make lots of short, choppy motions like I'm sketching, you know. So you got to try to keep in mind, you know, when you're doing this section of the piece, I usually like working in a higher temp. You can work with a lower temperature and just, you know, burn in layers, or take your time and burn slower. pretty much here, like I said, we're feathering out and keeping those lines to the left of the burner, left of the iron. We can keep an eye on where we're going, what we're doing, and also it gives you an idea of where you need to darken up or lighten up, or feather a little more, a little less. And here we are working on the pocket. Now remember, we're going to be adding depth, so you want that iron to be kind of tilted, and you want, see if you can tell, it's going to be more feathered towards one side, like right here on that one side of the pocket where you want the contact shadow between one side of the pocket and the part of the chest, part of the shirt. And here we go on the other side, doing the same thing. And then that seam in the middle. And this is a contact shadow. Making contact between one individual and the other. And this is also where a wrinkle happens. So we're just going to shade that wrinkle in a little bit so I know where it's going to be later. More like a landmark. There we go, another wrinkle. And this is a larger one, so I think we're going to go right along the center of the line. Make it a little thick here because there's a little more of a indent in this little section. And then color the line. We're getting both sides. I hope you can still see with my hair in the way. Now we go up, feather nice and slow. Bring that down. And thicken it up right there in that crease. Or that's going to go in a little bit. Back down to that wrinkle. We're going to go over here to this area of the sleeve. And that's going to be a little darker in this area here where it's kind of curling in on itself. So we want this a little darker. Touch up the top. Making just a contact shadow where the earring and the cheek meet. Down to the chin. Now we don't want too much going on here because it's just, with empty space in the background. So you just want the illusion that the curve of the chin is going back. Or the cheek, I'm sorry. And now here we go with the chin. And again, you don't want these very thick until you need them to be to reinforce the illusion of depth. So this is going to start to pop out a little bit if you haven't noticed. It's not so flat. Here we go. Get that cheek or the bottom of the jawline there, going up to the cheekbone, and making our contact here and making it seamless. Here we go. Continuing to work on the hair. There's more contact shadows, so you got to remember to feather those in and keep that iron angled, okay? Don't always keep it flat. Try to bear with me. Here we go with the eyes now. And this gentleman appears to have eyeshadow. So we got to be really careful. Again, you're angling that iron to where you're using just the tip. And again, I'm wearing these magnifying goggles, so it's a little easier for me to see. But I suggest the same. But remember, just keep that iron angled, and you're only burning along the line here, creating that contact shadow. Now here with the eye, you have to remember brown eyes are not brown. You know, you're not just going to shade this one color. There's various levels of brown and gradients of darkness and light, in the eye. So I know this isn't going to look very much like an eye now, but once everything is done and shaded, it's going to look just right. And we're getting a few of the highlights that are going to go in there as well. So here we're going to go with the other eye as well. Also, another thing to remember with eyes is the white of your eye is not pure white. So when we do come back around to do more of the light shading, there will be some color going into the white of the eyes there. There you go. Contact shadow over here between the hair and the nose. So that's going to go below the line. This one's going to go to the left of the line to give depth into the hair. No contact shadow. Okay. There we go. A little more with the earring. Make sure you get that contact shadow between the ear and the earring. And here, the burn is going to be to the left of the line. You only want to shade the earring here. Okay. And again, you're feathering. You're not messing with your temperature. You're just giving light passes. Okay. Make sure you get that contact shadow there again between the ear and the earring. And we're going to shade this sucker in. We're going to emphasize the highlights first. Actually, now that I just thought about it, there is a bit of a overburn here, and I just wanted to show you, you know, something so small. And again, I'm wearing magnifying goggles, so I can see a lot. Probably not as close as not as close as I would like to be, because the camera's in the way. But I'm working around it. But we're gonna remember to keep this at an angle, right? We're gonna try to just bring that highlight out just a tad. You don't want to dig that in either. You just want to use the edge of the blade just a touch. And there you go. More of the shape we want as well, because it fits more of the reference image. And we have another one over here that we're gonna have to clean up just a tad, because it looks like there's two, but it's actually supposed to be one big one. Right. And as I said before, with the softer woods, you are burning more layers, so you will have to scrape a little more with a softer wood as you would with a harder wood. But if you go nice and easy, nice and slow, the result is just the same. Another thing I want to let you guys know is I want to emphasize right now, I am burning hot. I'm burning at a 5 right now on my machine. It's an older machine. Like I said, it's an antique. It's from the 40s or so. And, or I don't know what. It's freaking old. But anyway, this thing, it goes up to 10. And I've never taken it up that high because I don't want to burn out any wires or any irons. But the thing I want to stress is, like, I'm at a 5. And just because you're at a higher temperature doesn't mean you're going to be burning all black, because as you can see, you can feather things out. So it's all about what I'm going to stress, line weight. Okay, like I'm going to use this as an example here, right? You can go, here's number, like at a 5, right? Right? Or, you know what I mean? And you could gradient out. So there's no set thing, and then also remember to keep your irons nice and clean so you're burning evenly. So just remember, keep in mind that it's all about pressure. How you move across the wood, that's going to make all the difference in the world. Okay guys, so remember that, keep in mind, and let's get back to it. Now we're going to go and shade these things. These are all black, by the way. I know I had mentioned it earlier that you can feather, but I just wanted to prove a point that just because this thing is hot, like I said, you don't have to burn all black. It all depends on your line weight. Stressing that, guys. line weight is everything. Just touch that around, make sure we stay within the lines, kind of like a coloring book. Now, I'm not familiar with what this says, but looking at looking at the rest of the design and figuring out, the hearts in this little thing here, yeah, it's not too hard to guess. It's cute though. Now we are making changes to this heart. The other three have solid black hearts, but I wanted to make this one a little, make it stand out, and to make another point to show you that yes, this is a 5. We are burning hot, but it's all about line weight, and you can make this heart instead of having it be a black solid blob that looks like a heart. We're giving it depth, and now it looks like it's like a balloon or something. Here we go. Now back to the ears. And this is going to go to the left, no, to the right of the line. I'm sorry. So we're adding more depth to the ear because there's not really going to be a contact shadow at this point of his ear between the hair behind it and his ear itself. So this is more or less going to stay to the right of the line, and we're getting that ear here. Just giving it a little more depth, making it pop. All right, remember to be gentle, don't overburn. Keep your reference image close and look at it as often as possible, as often as you need. And as you can see now, the image as a whole is a whole lot less like, it's way, way less flat than it was before. So even here, just by these little touch-ups that we're doing now, you're creating the illusion of depth, and that's what we're after, guys. That's what we're after. All right, I will see you back here with the next video next week. Tune in. Make sure you hit like and subscribe.